Hello, Monsters Abound here, and welcome back to Distant Worlds 2, which was a game that released last year, the start of last year. A little bit of a rough release, but they recently released a new Aurora update, which has made wholesale changes to the game, as well as released two new races, which are out on the 16th, but I've been given early access to them, which is fun. So we're going to have a look at them. So we're going to start a new game here. If you've not played Distant Worlds 2, it's basically a grand strategy 4X space game. Space opera type thingy-majig. Kind of like Stellaris, with maybe a bit less emphasis on storyline, but more interesting combat and ship construction. So that's your bag. That maybe you think. It's got less in-depth like planet construction as well. So it's kind of more based on the sort of like grand experience rather than having to drill down into planets and having all that, story stuff, which I really like in Stellaris. With that said, after like the first like 3 times you get an event, do you bother reading it? Nope, you just click the button you know is going to give you the best reward that you want. So, yeah. Anyway, so we're going to start a new game, Galaxy Shape. I'm going to give that as even clusters because I love an even cluster. You can have up to 2,000 stars, but whether that's a good idea is debatable. We're going to get a dense nebula. Our galaxy size is going to be... So, I mean, you could make like 2,000 stars and then 6, which is going to make it very, very dense. We're going to leave it at 700 because that's a little bit more sort of like sane, isn't it? So we're going to leave it sort of around that. There we go. We've got galaxy settings, so galaxy expansion. So this is how sort of, the empires are going to start off. Tech level, you can go all the way up to tech level 7 if you're just like, I don't want to bother with the early game. Everyone gets all the tech immediately. Fine. Galaxy aggression. This was a bit undertuned previously, but I think the Aurora update has made it better. I think previously factions were like not... They were very passive. They would only go to war, if you'd literally gone and punched their grandma to death. That point they go, well, this is going to require a strongly worded letter. Having played a little bit, they are a lot more willing to fight you if you annoy them. I got caught trying to steal something off a faction and they immediately declared war on it. They were like, no, down with that shit. So that does seem better. So before I was playing on chaos, and even that was a little bit like, Jesus Christ, guys, what the hell am I going to have to do to you to make you declare war on me? Now, however, it does seem better. So we're going to leave that on restless just because unstable? Yeah, fuck it, it's unstable. Why not? Difficulty, we're going to leave on hard. That probably means I'm going to get curb stomped. That's fine. Research, we're going to go with normal. I'm only going to go only next projects visible just because it makes the tech tree a little bit easier to read, and fix research paths just because I think the random research paths is just a little bit weird. So we're going to leave that as that. And we'll allow tech trading. Threats, pirates, we're going to leave them on normal, and pirate strength is going to be normal. Pirate proximity is going to be average, and pirate respawn is they're going to stay dead. I don't want them coming back. Space creatures, we're going to leave on few, and colony preferences are all going to be left to, normal. So normal, 100%, 300 miles. 300 miles in space is not very far, is it? So I don't know what that is, but sure. Races. Okay, so now we have 2 new races to play as. We have the Dhayut and we have the Ikkuro. The Dhayut are suspicious, paranoid spiders, and the Ikkuro are like yoga monkeys. I guess they're more like they're probably more like Wookiees than anything else because they are very strong and they can be aggressive and short-tempered, but they're generally pretty chill. And in fact, their sort of like civilization does not like bombarding people into the Stone Age. Now, the 2 new factions do have these special features associated with them, which the other factions do not have. We have a look at the Boscara, for example. They have bonuses, they have starting tech, they have their technologies that they get, and all that other stuff. But what they don't have is these special features. So, for example, for the Dhayut, we have a deep cover mission success against another faction, also provides the ability to create disinformation at all levels, making the target faction view the Dhayut more positively. So again, they're kind of like focused on like espionage and underhandedness and slaving, that kind of stuff. So inspired convening whenever a difficult intelligence mission succeeds, provides a boost to all espionage missions against that faction for the next year. We also have some unique leader traits, so slaver and divide and rule. Unique spy traits are careful weaver and strikes from the shadow. And their technology is a velocity drive. It's the fastest drive in the game, but it is energy hungry. Enslavement control facility and a terminal operations center. Oh, that sounds fun. Meanwhile, the Ikkuro have, let's see, they got consensus diplomacy, so they get a +5 threshold to sign new treaties. So obviously it's easier to make treaties with them, and I guess they have an easier time making treaties with other people. Respect for life, they get minus happiness if they bombard or destroy a world. But they get +5 happiness when they colonize and when they sign a new non-aggression or defensive treaty. But they also get 10 unhappiness if war breaks out. And they have a bunch of technologies which are mostly based around sort of terraforming. So they will get a whole bunch of high quality worlds, which obviously is going to make them, quite rich. But we're going to play as the spiders because 1, I fucking love these guys in Distant Worlds 1, and 2, their ships look fucking amazing. I love them. Genuinely overjoyed. The Ikkuro ships look fine, I guess, but these guys are the best ships in the game so far. So we're going to play as these guys. So we're going to play as the spiders. So we're going to be a surveillance oligarchy, which means we get an increase in war weariness reduction, an increase in espionage, in counter espionage. It's going to make us very hard to be spied on. Sensor research, so we can see more stuff, which is quite good. Troop recruitment rates, colony corruption reduction, and tourism. So colony happiness is reduced, and tourism income is also reduced, but it's generally fine. We also have the leadership changes, which now can be, depending on your government, can be highly disruptive, or sort of like, fine. For ours, it's a coup d'etat, which obviously is going to be highly disruptive, and the leader is replaced from spies. So basically, potential spies in our leader list are going to be the next leader. And I'm going to call ourselves the Vajayjay spiders, because all of the Dhayut sigils kind of look like vaginas, or at least to me. I'm guessing Freud would have a fucking field day with me. Anyway, we're going to go with that. And I'm going to start on the edge because I'm an edgelord, and we're going to have an agreeable home system starting. Yep, that's all fine. We're going to go with that one. And we're going to have 12 other empires. I'm just going to let them auto-generate. That's fine. And I'm going to leave the victory conditions as is. So our faction is known as the Vajayjay Spiders. S-P-Y-D-E-R-S. Get it? Because good. Our government is surveillance oligarchy. We are the Dhayut. We are typically aggressive and unreliable. The Dhayut have natural skills in hyperdrive research, war weariness reduction, and ground attack strength. Our leader is Rardai Panzert, skilled in population growth, colony corruption reduction, and diplomacy. Our home colony is Drukuvu. A desert savanna planet in the Pismimbin system. Pismimbim. Alright. Nearby is the gas giant planet Miss Pispin. I've pissed in the Mimbin, mum. Also nearby the rocky silicon moon. Oh, fuck that. I'm not going to even try that. And the desert savanna, dude. That's literally unpronounceable. Our faction has basic spacefaring technology, and we're exploring our home system. Explore, expand, and conquer. So here's Pisminbim. Fucking name for a system. Pisminbim. Oh, Jesus. Okay. I'm going to get our first event. There we go. So this game does have some storyline. I know what the storyline is. The storyline is that basically there was a big war going on between the insectoid races and the non-insectoid races, led by a race that I think came from outside the galaxy called the Shakturi. And then a cataclysm happened. Something just wiped everyone out. And our faction, obviously, was a colony that got cut off, but managed to survive the cataclysm. And we've now found like an ancient Dhayut facility, which we're now learning our past, right? We'd forgotten all about that, but now we're learning it again. So in the ancient Dhayut facility, we have made a curious discovery. Once the stories say that the Dhayut roamed the stars, seeking advantage, scheming our way towards clearer victories, and deceiving those who had no defense against our guile. Our complex plans confounded all lesser species, and we conquered the stars, leaving all others to wonder at our greatness. Inferior species trembled before us, but at the moment of our greatest victory, a terrible cataclysm struck, destroying all we had built. If the stories are true, then this welcoming, arid world was not our original home. Ancient artifacts we have recently discovered may confirm the truth of our legends, but Legends only scratch the surface of truth. There is more our past we must learn. These relics of a distant past have inspired our greatest minds to repeat the glories of ancient times. Now that our scientists have discovered the means by which we can reach for the stars, we can spread out into the great void and regain all that was lost. Perhaps we will encounter other species and make them subservient to us, as our ancestors did. None will have the means to stand against the Dhayut. Clever and subtle victories await us. The stars will blink to Dhayut in the future, just as they did in the past. So we have found warp field experiments, warp fields, and research labs. And the colony is going to give it, and the facility is going to give us 5% colony bonus and 6% scenery, which is absolute garbage. We get much better bonuses than that previously. So, oh well, never mind. Luck of the draw. However, we do have another desert savanna moon nearby. Now, that will actually be colonizable. And we do have a bunch of other sort of nearby planets. There's a couple of ruins nearby as well. This system actually seems quite large and filled with stuff, so we might actually be in luck here. Now, Piss Bin Bin does start sort of near in a cluster, which means we may have this cluster to ourselves, but it may be inhabited by other races. If so, we're going to have to kick the shit out of them. So to start off, we are going to build a small spaceport. So we're going to build that. Small spaceport is under construction, and that will allow us to have somewhere to build ships a bit faster than if they're just being built in orbit. Now, we have we've got our surveillance oligarchy. So due to our chosen government, we have gained insights into penetrating scanners and improved sensors. So we have slightly better sort of like sensors and stuff, which is good. And we've also got our Supreme Inquisitor, this guy here. So he is measured, which means he has less colony happiness, but he also reduces colony corruption and increases diplomacy. And he has an increased skill for population growth and sensor research. Colony happiness is reduced due to a trait, colony corruption from a trait, and diplomacy from a trait. And these two will increase or decrease depending on the percentage. So once that reaches 100%, he'll get sensor research plus 5%. I think this is based off basic. So if he's on a I guess if there's population growing in the Empire, he'll slowly accrue population growth, and that will then increase, which is useful because the Dhayut actually have a slightly lower population growth than some of the other races, so having a little bit of boost to that is good. Research-wise, we're going for research labs first of all, which is fine. After we've done that, I'm going to go for stable warp fields. So we're going to queue that one up, and then we're going to kick off. Now, we're going to start by building 2 exploration ships and a construction ship. So we're going to purchase those, and they will be constructed in orbit around the planet. So this game is, well, it's a lot of it is automated. So as you can see, our exploration ships are already flying out to go and explore these planets and find out what resources are available on them. And resources are important. Each planet will have some resource potentially, which we can then use. We build a mining station around that resource. The mining station hoovers up the resource. It is basically infinity resource, so we don't run out of it. But there is a percentage which is like how fast we can mine it. Now, why that might be important is that if it's a rare resource, the mining station, while mining it, will not be able to transport that to planets. We need our private economy to do that. So a freighter will go to the station, it will pick up the resource, and it will take that to where it's needed. Obviously, the faster you mine stuff, the more freighters can use that station. Because obviously, you know, if it's slowly accruing, then the freighter won't be able to take a full load, and that'll be less efficient. But there are some resources that aren't quite low in general, so you just have to accept that. But stuff like calcine, which is the fuel that we'll use, and ships do need fuel, and they need to be refueled frequently. Otherwise, obviously, they won't have... Oh, we've actually got quite a lot of calcine here, so this is actually quite good for us. This is probably the best one, so, but mind you, this has got other resources. You know what? We'll do this one. So build a station there, and we only really need one source of calcine at the moment, because there's other resources we do need, things like steel, like Aulun, and a bunch of other stuff, silicon, for example, stuff that we don't have access to currently that we, you know, kind of do need. Do we have any resources here? Nope, no resources at our homeworld. That may change. The other things we have on our homeworld, if we have a look at it, there we are. We do have the 1st Mercenary Brigade. Now, these guys are our foot troops. The Dhayut are pretty good in combat. We could potentially buy more, but they're expensive. As much as I do want to potentially, as soon as we get a general, I probably do need to get one. Oh, we've got a new scientist as well, because we've had a critical research breakthrough for our science, which means that our science labs, which means they will research faster now, which is good. So we want to obviously recruit some more lads. It does take a while to recruit troops, and troops need to be transported by transport fleet to where they are, to where they need to be. And each type of troop has a different strength and weakness. So, for example, if we have a look at our boys, I can remember where the bloody button is. There we go. So we have 126 defense and 126 attack, which is at the higher end of the general sort of races that we can be. So, for example, the Tekken are very, very weak, but they've got reasonably good defense. The Ikkuro are actually stronger than we are and have very good defense. But we're generally pretty good on the attack, so we're definitely sort of one of the stronger races that you probably want to recruit assault troops from. So we finished a new exploration ship. They will continue exploring. Let's see what we got. So currently it's just a lot of gas. That's fine. We'll start exploring a bunch of other planets soon. You doing this one? There we go. I think this might actually be colonizable. Depends how good it is, because we do like the desert planets. So our current planet is, it has a quality of 73%. It's got plus 53 colonization suitability. So I'm interested to see what this one is. Is it any good? It's 14, low. Anything below 20 isn't really worth it. We can increase it with terraforming techs and stuff, but it's a little bit, it's not ideal. It's probably not something we want to do like super early on. Here we have silicon. I definitely want silicon, so we do want that, but I want to see what else we have as well, because obviously building facilities costs resources, and we run out of resources that we need to build facilities. Well, that's kind of a problem, because we'll have to rely on neutral trade ships turning up to sell us some stuff that we desperately need to then actually get an economy up and running. So we're just going to be a little bit cautious to start off with. I do love the look of the Dhayut ships. I know I said this before, but like the cargo shuttle there, it all looks very spider-like. There's the space docks, that's our construction ship, and that looks very, very spider. And the escorts kind of look like the Defiant. They're kind of that flat shape with big wings, and I do like that. The whole, I mean, all of the ships I think in Distant Worlds 2 look quite good, but some definitely look better than others. But I just genuinely love the Dhayut ships. They did a really good job on those. The Ikkuro are fine, but the Dhayut just so good, so fucking good. Now, science. So we have a spaceport. The spaceport produces some science because it has a research lab on it. So you need to build stations which can put research labs on them. However, right. So if we have a look at the research and if we have a look at the small spaceport, right? So we'll edit. So this is a design for the small spaceport, and this is something you can do with all of your ships and all your stations. You can basically slap shit on them. So for example, this is our current design. We've got a bunch of empty slots here, so theoretically we could whack stuff in there if we wanted to. So we could like add more basic fuel cells, that kind of thing. We could do anything really. However, the research lab, you'll note, has this number 60 next to it, which is the size, and so we can only put a component in a slot which has the same size or higher. So if we wanted another basic research lab, we would need another size 60 slot, which we don't have. Which is why we can only have one basic research lab on our station. I mean, we could potentially add a bunch of other weapons as well, because that's like... Currently we've got seeking missiles and wave bombs for some reason. I don't know why. But we could put more weapons on them, like a plasma torpedo. Might even not be a bad option, but for the moment we're not going to do that because it costs different resources. In fact, if we have a look at this, you can see it's going to cost us 4 Necros stone and 2 cut pricker. We don't have that at the moment, so there's no point trying to do that. So to get more research, we basically need to build more stations, and to build more stations we need places we can build them. So spaceports can only be constructed around colonized planets. And if we want to build research stations, we need to find locations which have research bonuses. Research bonuses are percentages that increase. I'm not sure it increases the speed. I think what it does is it unlocks the ability to research higher tech levels. So, for example, if you have, like, I don't know, shields, for example, if you're researching, like, you know, a mid-tier shield, it might go, well, you need 20% shield research to do this. So we need either all research bonuses or specifically shield research bonuses. And if we can get that, then we can research that technology. So research stations also have extra slots on them that allow us to put more research labs in that station. So the more research stations we have, the more research labs we have, which I don't know why you can't build research labs on like a planet. I guess maybe they just don't like them there. I don't know. Either way. So that's what we need. We need research spaces. Anyway, we found the Grand Pillar, ancient ruins. We will obviously investigate an ancient facility. We have made a fascinating discovery. Under the surface of this world, we've encountered the remains of an ancient structure seemingly built by Dhayut. More evidence of our long ago greatness. We must find a way to gain access to this facility so we can learn what knowledge from the past can be used to advance our goals now. It may be possible to use simple explosives to blast our way in, but doing so could damage some of the structure, perhaps destroying the very knowledge and power we crave. Our engineers say they have an alternative. Would be to hack into the ancient computers and force the doors open, but these engineers are greedy and must be bribed to perform their task. It is, after all, the Dhayut way to always seek advantage. The hacking will not be inexpensive, but it would be a cleaner method of gaining access. 50, I mean, we've got 16, so we'll pay them. We'll pay them. Get what's inside. Crafty engineers. Our crafty engineers were successful. They've opened the doors to the base, which was built by an ancient civilization calling itself the Dhayut Web. This was a culture that spanned the stars, destroying, defeating, and deceiving all enemies, and yet they ran from something, as though even the mighty Dhayut could be made to tremble with fear. We can only conclude they fled whatever natural force caused the cataclysm. A survey map marks our homeworld as being of particular interest, so it is logical to conclude that these were the same Dhayut that settled Drakuvu. Within, we have also found the decaying remnants of a weapons research lab. This will certainly aid us. We have also found a ship hangar with 4 excellent and well-preserved vessels within. We will take the bounty of our forebears, making the conquest of the stars all the easier. Our engineers have done well, but a question remains. Do we praise the self-serving demand to be paid, or in this new era of exploration expansion, must we punish those who cling to traditional values of selfishness? Guys, it's 2023. We're acting our wage. Praise them. Rewarding success. Let all Dhayut kind celebrate the ingenuity of our engineers, who not only discovered a means of safely entering the ancient facility, but also displayed admirable selfishness by demanding to be paid for their efforts. Corruption on Drakuvu has increased as a result. Amazing. Great. Okay, so we should have found... There we go. So we've got reactor research. Pispin 1. We live in a piss bin. What can we say? So we can build a research station there, and that will give us 9% reactor research. Oh, and 20% weapon research as well. That's really nice. Holy shit. That's great. That's really good. I really want to do that. But first, we need some extra resources. So we need... Now, piss bin 1 does have steel, Mebnar, and so we definitely want that one. That's a definite. We want silicon. Yes, I want silicon. Let's go silicon. And this stuff. So some of this stuff is luxuries. So luxuries are stuff that aren't needed for construction, but will give bonuses to your colonies if they are supplied with them. So this skin here is going to give us 6% colony development. So if we supply our colony with that, they will get more development. That gives us more money, all that kind of good stuff. So we definitely want to do that. So our agent, Graco Techlaw, has evaded detection of sexually carrying us and their mission to reduce internal unrest from dissidents. Goddamn dissidents. So if I look at our spies, we can see this guy now has some... Oh, he's uninhibited. Lovely. But he does have espionage and counter-espionage, so these skills would increase. Obviously, this from a trait won't increase, but we could decrease that if he got, I don't know, other traits or was doing missions that would increase those. I don't know what. The thing is, it's not very good at explaining what like concealment is. I'm assuming that's the chance to like not be detected for performing an operation. I'm guessing. But yeah, we've got internal stabilization, which reduces colony corruption and also war weariness as well. So if we're fighting a long war, we can just do that to nip any potential war weariness in the bud and give us some more time to win that war, especially if we're losing it. Good stuff. Okay, so we now have some ships as well. We've got, these are some, are they heavy escorts? They are heavy escorts. So these are heavy escorts. These are ones we found. And as you can see, they look fucking amazing. I love them. Now, so each of these ships will have, well, they've actually got velocity drive. That's very good. That's like the next drive up, I think. And they also have a rail gun. And they've also got a sentinel beam defense, point defense. So each of these weapons is in a slot. You can see if I hover over the railgun there, that it's this slot over here. This one. And this weapon has a 270-degree arc of fire, which means it can't fire behind it, which means that ships turning and stuff is very important. And all of the sort of like little balls here that you can see, the color balls, are stuff on the outside of the ship that will potentially take damage during combat. I mean, everything can take damage during combat, but I think the stuff on the outside of the ship can take damage even when the ship has armor. I think there's a potential chance for that. So during combat, components will be damaged once the ship loses its shields and its armor. And for example, if the engines are taken out, well, your ship ain't moving anywhere. If the weapons are taken out, they can't fire. If your hyperdrive's taken out, well, you're dead in the water until a construction ship can come and rescue your sorry ass. Now, what we can do is we can actually put these ships into a... Oh, hello. The Abset Council. We have discovered a new pirate faction in the Pispin system. The Abset Council. Pirate faction. So this is basically a shakedown. The pirates have, to start off with, more and better ships than we do. They're basically saying, we will not kill you if you give us some money. So we'll accept that deal because there's no way at the current time we can fight them. With that said, eventually pirates can become allies and stuff, which can be useful for you, or alternatively, you can wipe them out. Entirely up to you. So, where were we? Right, ships. I'm going to put these into a fleet. They're going to be the first defense force. So all these ships will now act together. And like pretty much anything in this game, you can automate that. So these guys currently have a defend role, which means that they will defend ships within a certain sort of radius. If anything potentially nasty heads their way, they will try and finish them off, hunt them down, finish them off, that kind of thing. Liberate the Stars. So these guys are Harkonish pirates, fairly neutral. That's fine. They'll probably also, so we speak with them, negotiate a deal. We're certain, yeah, because I do not want to fight them. Yeah. What do you think of this deal? We accept your request. So we're paying them some money, which is a pain, but it'll also mean we won't die horribly as they hunt down all of our mining stations and ships, and basically we can't defend ourselves at the moment. I mean, we potentially can defend ourselves. We do have those heavy escorts, which are quite useful. But if they hit a mining station and raid it before our ships can get there, then that mining station is out of operation. And frankly, it's not great to be trying to defend yourself this early on in the game. You want to be able to get that sort of like infrastructure up, so that, I mean, eventually, you know, you lose a mining station. That's annoying, but there's plenty of other mining stations to supply yourself with, so it's not really a big deal. But at this moment in time, we are struggling for resources, and it's not a good idea to lose them. We discovered the crashed Ikkuro ship, ancient ruins from a lost civilization. Obviously, we will investigate. We have found a strange alien ship belonging to a species whose shape is disgusting even to contemplate. On our homeworld, the philosophers have begun to debate the question of how these creatures did not choose to self-genocide. Curiously, we have also been able to decipher at least part of the language, which is related to an ancient tongue of our own world. Some of their words have no Dhayut equivalent, but we believe the vessels belong to a faction called Venerable Farming Tool, though that is only a best guess. There are fragmented references to our own world in what remains in our log, and we can only conclude that this ship was on its way to attack us. They must have been stupid as well as ugly to believe they could defeat our all-powerful ancestors. The universe, however, cared nothing for the arrogance of foolish inferiors. The ship encountered a powerful natural force that sent it crashing to the surface, destroying all life on board. The ship was almost certainly destroyed by the same cataclysm that brought down our ancestors' empire. The ship was constructed with powerful security precautions, suggesting these disgusting creatures had the capacity for caution. Attempting to access certain portions of the ship will set off a self-destruct sequence. We must now decide if we wish to retrieve what remains in the cargo bay, or attempt to access the main databanks and learn more of these aliens and their vile purpose. I'm going to go with data. In the databanks, we've learned that an ancient species called the Shakturi were terrified the creatures who piloted the ship. This would be meaningless to us since the creature's appearance suggests they were cowardly by nature, but there are some troubling references to Dhayut in the data. It is by no means clear, but the implication is that Shakturi used the Dhayut as expendable soldiers sent into battle for no other purpose but to soften up the Shakturi's foes. Perhaps these Shakturi were pirates who captured individual, isolated and vulnerable Dhayut and enslaved them. It cannot be the Shakturi threatened our ancestors as a whole. We've also found some information about medical technology, which these aliens evidently prize. We have found technologies that advance our understanding of medical systems. There we go. So we've got a little bit of a mystery there. Exciting. Okay, so the Upset Council kind of like us. These guys are pretty chilled. That's fine. As long as they're not trying to kill me, I'm okay with that. And we want to up our mining. So do we have anywhere here? Do we have anything we need? You are building that there. You are building that there, which is fine. Do we need moss? Not really. Not at the moment. It's not really important. Piss Bin 2 does have Necros Stone. Sure. Let's queue that up. Let's queue that up. So you will find planets with unknown stuff on them. So for example, our homeworld does have some resource on it. We just don't know what it is yet. And as our understanding of our planet increases, which is based off the exploration level, this will increase if we have a mining station or we occupy the planet. Basically, it increases over time. Or alternatively, we can get better sensors that will immediately uncover that stuff for us, which is good. Okay, so we have our first defense fleet. So we're fair. I mean, these guys have a strength of 302. That's not bad this early in the game. It's pretty good. You want me to build more construction ships? I could do. I'm just a little bit cautious until we kind of get Piss Bin 1 going. It's slowly ticking up. So this is one of our mining stations. This station will slowly sort of like harvest resources from around it. Once it's finished. There we go, it's finished. Now you can see that those resources ticking up. So if a freighter turns up and enters the station, it'll grab those resources, depending on the number of cargo holds on the ship, which, again, you can increase if you want. If you look at a freighter and go, that bad boy needs more fucking capacity on it, you can wax them. I mean, you know, depending on the size, of course. But that way a freighter can take more stuff. So we have, that's a survey ship. Is there any freighters on their way? No, your explorer. I'm assuming there will be freighters on their way fairly soon. The private economy will order more ships if they need them. So if we click on our station, we may find so there's a small freighter and a construction ship being built. So the Shining Beggar is a ship that I have not ordered to be constructed. It's constructing off its own back. There's a cargo shuttle there. It's carrying resources. So you can see it's got some resources there. So the cargo shuttle is going to the Itras mining station. This guy's got a bunch of silicon on board, so he's transporting that. And the resources will only reach the station once the ship has docked through the little docking bay there. You can research more technology, or that increases the amount of ships that can be docked at any one time. Alternatively, you can also put more docking bays on your fucking station, if that's your option. So you can obviously get more resources more quickly, which eventually you're probably going to want to do. Okay, yeah, we will build a research station, because that's a really good research station, actually. So we will slap that bad boy in there. Is there anything we desperately need? So anything with red around them is like something that's going, we got a shortage of this, which is fine, but with stuff that we don't really need. Now, these resources we don't really need at the moment because they're stuff. Well, you're willing to sell us some stuff. I will take that. It's usually not that useful, but at least we won't have to explore it by ourselves. So there's like some asteroids down here, which, you know, have offered us a non-aggression treaty already. Okay, good. So that means that basically we have a non-aggression treaty, and we don't have to pay them either. It's good. If you do accept, they will offer to sell you stuff occasionally, and if you accept it, then that does make them like you more, which can then obviously mean that they're not charging you monthly for protection. So currently we're not paying them for protection. We just go over. Oh dear, we had an admiral, but he was dismissed because he was a fucking idiot. That's unfortunate. Oh no. Oh no, you're really bad. Oh shit, son. Minus 5% all research. That's really garbage. I think I'm going to have to get rid of you. I'm going to just get fucking rid of you because you're garbage. Right, you're measured, disliked, an industrialist, and sober, which means you get a bunch of traits. So we've got 10% less colony corruption. That's really good. 0 diplomacy. That doesn't really matter, so we're not really doing that. Tourism income is reduced. Don't really care. Mining rate is increased. That's great. And you also got your population growth is 0, which is fine. Civilian ship construction speed and high-tech research is increasing, which is good. But we've lost our scientist because he's useless. Absolutely useless. We're only picking up useless bastards. I mean, you're not even that great. God, what? Okay, we're going to assign you to do an internal stabilization thingy so that we can learn what traits you have, because you usually only learn the traits that people have once they've done a mission. So we kind of need to know that. Okay, so we've got some money now. I'm going to build 2 more construction ships, no, 3 more construction ships and 5 more exploration ships, because once we have those stable warp fields, we can then jump out and explore other parts of the galaxy. So depending on who's in our little cluster here, we need to grab some nearby systems and new colonies. Currently we've only got this one, which is plus 14. Basically we want anything over 20. Anything over 20 is good. Anything below 20 is bad. Different races have different planets they like, so it might be the planets that we have here. Maybe another race will like them more. But it is determined by quality. So this has got 34% quality. So that might not be great for anyone. We could colonize it and then like... it's got a quality of plus 57. So that actually, like, if we could find some Acdradians, the water people, they may actually like living there. Obviously, they need to be enslaved because... spiders are the master race. That's just an obvious. Right, so we're waiting on our stable warp fields to be finished, and we probably do need to just finish off. I mean, Pispin 8 does have a lot of calcium, so that would actually be quite... To be honest, the more calcium we have, the better, right? There's no reason never to have more calcium, but Pispin 10 does have this moss, which apparently would be quite good, so we'll do that. We'll get this skin as well. And we've also got some tea. I fucking love tea, so let's get some tea.